We all love summer traditions, barbecues, the beach, and of course the right wing attacking the president's vacation.
There's a general perception the world is going to hell, and the president's out there playing golf.
Hey, look, there's genocide going on, rape. Why would we expect the president to cancel his vacation to Martha's Vineyard?
President Obama is simmering and summering over at Martha's Vineyard.
I'm convinced he takes so many vacations to further this notion that he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't care. He ain't not responsible.
Nothing like summertime in the GOP. But the reality is, like all presidents before President Obama, any vacation is a working vacation. Nancy Reagan once defended her husband's time at the California ranch, saying presidents don't get vacation, they just get a change of scenery. The right wing seems satisfied with that answer. And during this vacation, President Obama addressed the nation on Iraq 3 times and talked about the situation in Ferguson twice. On Wednesday, he honored slain journalist James Foley. But some couldn't wait to criticize him for golfing after that speech. They're always looking to politicize, waiting to attack. The fact is, President Obama has taken 138 vacation days since he was sworn in. But President Bush, at the same point in his presidency, took 407. Yes, more than a full year of vacation. You can see the difference here. I know it's the middle of the summer, but nobody deserves a break from reality. Joining me now are Joe Madison and Bill Press. Thank you for being here.
Good to see you, Reverend Al.
Joe, every president takes vacations, but they just love attacking this one. Why?
Well, I don't know, because look what this president has done. He prevented genocide on top of a mountain in Iraq. Remember, the banks also received major fines. Major banks received multi-million-dollar fines while he was on vacation. He sent the Attorney General into a heated situation in Ferguson, Missouri. You know, what I said on my show the other day is something that we both remember. What's a brother got to do? I mean, while he's on vacation, he's done more to help this country. Oh, and by the way, he also launched airstrikes against a group of terrorists that most countries' leaders are not on vacation, and they haven't even weighed in. What's a brother got to do?
You know, I mentioned, Bill, that this has become a real tradition, bashing the president's vacation. Let's take a walk down memory lane.
That's why the Marie Antoinette joke, or the Muchel Antoinette jokes about Muchel Obama. It is why some people say that it looks like these two just wanted to be president for the perks.
There he goes jetting off to tickle his toes in the sand of Martha's Vineyard and probably burying his head in the proverbial sand.
16 vacations, 90 rounds of super golf.
Our dedicated commander-in-chief has since returned to his wonderful vacation in Hawaii, and once again showing us all that he simply does not have your best interest in mind.
I'm convinced he takes so many vacations to further this notion that he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't care. He ain't not responsible.
I mean, Bill, give me a break. I mean, it's the same lines over and over. They have nothing new. There's no content to their criticisms.
No, Reverend Al, look, this just proves that the Obama haters never take a vacation, all right? And, you know, they're really on thin ground. When you look at George W. Bush, you mentioned 407 days by this point in his presidency. His entire presidency, 879 days. That's over 3 years that he took on vacation in Crawford, Texas. He used to go down to Crawford, Texas for the entire month of August. You pointed out also, and Joe pointed out, everything the president has done, President Obama, in this last
not even an entire 2 weeks that he spent on Martha's Vineyard.
Right.
And yet George Bush was in Texas, and when they gave him that briefing on August the 6th, 2001, about al-Qaeda about to strike the United States with airplanes, George Bush ignored it and went bass fishing. I mean, give me a break. This guy is on the job all the time. And I got news for these Obama haters. The world does not stand still when the President of the United States goes on vacation. Never has, never will.
You know, Joe, the New York Times wrote about how presidents deal with emotional decisions and events, and I found it interesting. Let me read you the quote. Presidents learn to wall off their feelings and compartmentalize their lives. They deal in death one moment and seek mental and physical relief the next. To make cold-hearted decisions in the best interest of the country and manage the burdens of perhaps the most stressful job on the planet, current and former White House officials said. A president must guard against becoming consumed by the emotions of the situations they confront. Interesting, Joe.
Yeah, and then maybe this is why their hair turns gray in 4 short years, too, because of all of this. And, you know, remember the rub that we used to think about Ronald Reagan? He always took naps. I mean, you don't have to worry about this president taking naps. This is the same president, remember, at the White House Correspondents' Dinner? He sat there cool, calm, collected. And, you know, here were all these correspondents, these brilliant reporters, and then what did we find out just a few hours after that, that he had given the go-ahead to kill one of the most wanted terrorists on the planet.
Well, I guess that's part of that compartmentalizing.
That's right.
But I've got to put this in here, Bill, because Karl Rove now, weighed in on President Obama golfing right after making the statement on James Foley's death. Now listen to Karl Rove.
Somebody made a mistake. They should have thought this thing through. They should have said the president's going to go out and make a comment on this. So shouldn't we get the golf? Why don't we get the tee time tomorrow? Or why don't we get the tee time in 4 or 5 hours rather than 8 minutes later?
Now this is Karl Rove, but Rove was also working for Bush when this happened.
We must stop the terror. I call upon all nations to do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive. All right.
Now, after that, Bush did give up golfing until after the Iraq War for the remainder of his presidency while the war was happening. But Karl Rove, of all people, had this to say. I mean, really?
Yeah, talking about the pot calling the kettle black here. Listen, Reverend Al. I think the real point here is nobody is talking, Karl Rove wasn't talking about, what did the president say at that little meeting with reporters after talking to the parents of James Foley? What he said was 2 very important things. Number one, that nobody can claim that their faith tells them to do such awful, ugly acts as to execute and behead an American journalist. And number 2, he said, we're not going to back down. Jim Miklaszewski just told us what's going on, that we're going to even redouble our efforts against ISIS, which must be destroyed. That's what they ought to be focusing on. Yeah. And they won't talk about that because President Obama did the right thing.
Joe, got 30 seconds left. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, what does a brother got to do? And to well you, said. I wish you the best of luck tomorrow on Staten Island. I really do.
Thank
you. But you know, I think that's the word we ought to think. This president is on top of it. Everybody knows it. And quite honestly, these conservatives ought to go on vacation. Give it a break.
Gotta go. Joe Madison, Bill Press, thank you for your time. And have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
You too.